Hello, friends. Welcome to Fiscal Focus. This is Danish Khan. I'm a political economist, and today I'm going to share my thoughts on the recent spasm of violence between India and Pakistan. As the dust is slowly settling down and the ceasefire has been enacted, at least for the time being, it is time to critically reflect on socioeconomic costs of hostilities and war between two neighboring countries. First and foremost, in the complexity of modern warfare, the notion of victory must be contextualized. We must ask, victory for whom within the country? Because when a country claims victory, the protracted suffering, displacement, and economic costs far outweigh any strategic gains. For example, in the recent spasm of violence between India and Pakistan, many people have lost their lives, which is an extremely unfortunate event, and many were displaced from their homes and villages, especially on both sides of the line of control in Jammu and Kashmir. And this displacement is traumatic, especially for children and younger adults. From a political economy perspective, war are generally destructive, but they have a major negative economic impact on developing countries such as India and Pakistan, because military mobilization diverts vast public resources from essential sectors such as education, healthcare, and public infrastructure. Here, I would like to quote a renowned institutional economist named Thorstein Veblen, who once said, and I quote, "War as an industrial occupation is wasteful and aims at destruction rather than production," end of quote. Therefore, we must avoid war at all costs. We know that every state in the world propagandizes its people with a narrative of national unity during war, and it tends to mute different socioeconomic struggles and rights-based movements within countries. And as a result, it slows down the process of socioeconomic emancipation within countries. And Pakistan and India were no exception in this regard in the recent past few weeks. And there has been a lot of talk in the mainstream media, and especially among hawkish geostrategic commentators and experts who argue that neither country wants to be hyphenated with the other. But the reality is that both countries are not just neighbors, but they're socioeconomic indicators of both India and Pakistan, especially those socioeconomic indicators which directly impact lives of ordinary working class people are more similar than different. For example, let's look at the poverty levels in both countries. Here I'm going to talk about the two relevant poverty lines for India and Pakistan. The first one is called extreme poverty line, which is set at $2.15 per day. According to World Bank data, 12.9% population in India made less than $2.15 a day in 2021. Whereas in Pakistan, 4.9% population made less than $2.15 a day. The second poverty line that I'm going to mention is called lower middle income poverty level, which is set at $3.65 a day. According to World Bank data, 28% population in India made less than $3.65 a day, whereas in Pakistan, 39% of population made less than $3.65 a day. Now let's look at the GDP per capita numbers. Globally, countries are classified into four categories based on their gross domestic product per capita, which is the total GDP divided by the population. Those four categories are high-income countries, followed by upper middle-income countries, then lower middle-income countries, and finally low-income countries. The unfortunate fact is that both India and Pakistan are classified as lower middle-income countries in the world. India ranks 143rd in the world in terms of GDP per capita, which stands at $2,480, whereas Pakistan ranks 161st with GDP per capita of $1,365. Now let's look at the Human Development Index. It is a composite index which goes beyond GDP and income numbers, and it also incorporates educational and health outcomes of countries. India ranks 130th on HDI index, whereas Pakistan ranks 164th on HDI index. The point of sharing these basic statistics is to illustrate that both countries face huge socioeconomic challenges when it comes to improving lives of its ordinary citizens, in particular working class people. Instead of collaborating together to improve lives of historically marginalized segments of the society and working class people, both countries are engaged in high military spending on the pretext of never-ending conflicts and different geostrategic influences. According to Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, India's military spending in 2024 stands at $85 billion US, and Pakistan's military spending is $10.2 billion US. We know that military in Pakistan has an expansive role and a lot has been written about it, but India's military spending has also doubled since 2013. That's why when it comes to military indices, both countries are ranked way higher than their GDP per capita or HDI rankings. For example, let's look at the Global Firepower Index, which roughly tells us how strong and prepared a country's military is compared to other countries. In particular, it looks at things like defense budget, number of soldiers, tanks, aircrafts, naval ships, etc. According to the Global Firepower Index, India ranks 4th globally. Remember, India's GDP per capita ranking is 143rd and its HDI ranking is 130th. Now, Pakistan is ranked 12th on Global Firepower Index. And remember, Pakistan's GDP per capita ranking is 161st and HDI ranking is 164th. So here you see the radical difference in terms of countries' military might vis-a-vis socioeconomic performance. This tends to reflect that military spending and defense has been prioritized over socioeconomic welfare of ordinary and working class people in both countries. India and Pakistan are not unique when it comes to conflicts and wars. Many countries have issues with each other and territorial conflicts with each other, but yet they continue to engage and trade with each other. For example, India and China have territorial issues, but yet their bilateral trade is around $138 billion. In sharp contrast, Pakistan and India's bilateral trade has been negligible in the recent past. Now, in order to move beyond this current impasse, both countries have to get on the table and sort out their differences via dialogue, which can be a messy and long and extremely slow process, but it's still a better option because the socioeconomic and human cost of dialogue is nothing as compared to going to war with each other. And I hope that policymakers in both Islamabad and New Delhi realize this sooner rather than later. Thank you.